Right, welcome back everybody. It's Wednesday the 25th of February, and so the video you're about to watch originally started life as a guide for beginners so they could do their spare room up. I thought I'd do something aimed at that market, maybe just to change it up a bit or to do something different, maybe to attract some more subscribers. So it was initially going to be a very simplified video of how to strip wallpaper, how to rub walls down, how to put a bit of filler on, how to do some painting. And that was the market I was going for. I wasn't excluding all my normal subscribers, but there might have been some useful information there. But what happened was, I started stripping the wallpaper, and underneath the wallpaper I discovered that the walls had originally been painted. Now all that paint just was flaking and flaking. There were quite a few cracks underneath it. So I think it turned into something that wasn't for beginners, to be honest. So I stopped going down that road with it. I thought it was just a bit too advanced, that a beginner wouldn't have the sanding tools, maybe the roller scrim, maybe the big filling knives and things like that. So I thought, you know what, I'll just turn it into a normal video. So when you watch this video, the first part of it will be very basic, and you'll be thinking, what is he trying to teach me how to take wallpaper off for? Well, I was originally intended to teach someone that had never done it how to take wallpaper off, how to use a steamer. So without further ado, I'll let you watch the video, and you'll see that it becomes a video of two halves really. Anyway, enjoy it. So you've got a room that you want to do up. It's looking old, it's looking tired. It's got wallpaper on it, and you don't want the wallpaper anymore. You just want it gone. You want to paint the walls and you want to make it look nice and modern. So this could just be the video for you. Now, this is aimed more at the beginners market, but it applies to everyone really. Now, you might not have the budget to get someone else in. You might not trust someone else to come in your house and do the work. So you keep looking at it and you keep thinking, I must get round to that. Well, follow me for some simple steps, and that old room will look fresh in no time. So let's take you into the job. We'll run through it and explain what you've got to do to make that work. So the job for the next couple of days is to do this little room up really. Now it's a really old little room, very old and tired looking, as you can see. Got old wallpaper on the wall that I would imagine has been there at least 20 or 30 years. I think that was when all these sort of colours were back in fashion, you know, all these sort of pinks and greys, at least 30 years ago. So it's all looking a bit old and tired. It's just starting to fray where the joins are and things like that. And there's really not a lot you can do with that at this stage, really. So people have gone on holiday. They're lucky enough to be on a cruise while I'm in here doing that. But if you're not one of them lucky people, when you've got a little room like this yourself and you feel like you'd like to have a go, well, then maybe this is the video for you. It's very basic decoration work. Anyone can do it with any sort of level of ability, I would say, really. Maybe you haven't got the money to get someone in. Maybe you just don't trust someone else to come in your own house and do it. But have no fear, just watch this video and I'm sure you'll be able to do this in no time at all. Now I've cleared the room out. I've put the bed out there. I've got the bed frame in the bathroom because obviously there's no one in here to use that bathroom for the next or at least a couple of weeks they're going away for, but I'm planning on being out of here in 3 days at the most really. So without further ado, we're going to get this wallpaper off. Now my preferred method is not to use a steamer, because generally a steamer, if you don't know, you can hold the steamer on the wall and you feel like you're doing some good stuff by loosening up all that old paper, which it will do, but along with the old paper it might also loosen up the plaster underneath. You might hear a little popping sound and you won't know until you've stripped the paper off that first layer of plaster has got swollen up and it's popped off from its backing coat of plaster, and then you strip all your paper off and you realise, oh my god, there's holes everywhere, and that is because the steamer has popped off all that plaster. Then you've got a hell of a job trying to make it look nice again with either filler, or what a lot of people might have to do is then get a plasterer in, which completely defeats the object of trying to do it yourself. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to pull off this top layer. Now most papers that I've ever seen are usually made up of 2 layers. So let's try and show you on a nice simple bit. So once you take off this top layer of paper, it will usually leave the backing layer of paper. And sometimes, if you're lucky, this top layer of paper will come off quite easy. You don't really want to be digging scrapers into the wall, because that's where you make a lot of damage. It's where you make a lot of marks in your wall with a scraper. So if you can just get your fingers behind it a bit, sometimes you can just tease it off and it will come up in big sheets. Let's try a good big bit here. So there we go. Now, if you can do a lot of that, it will leave you with just this backing bit of wallpaper. Now that is pretty good to soak up. Now you can soak that with either a roller in some water, some warm water, soak it up, get that paper soaking, and then that paper should, in theory, just peel off really nice and easy, and that should stop you from having to use a steamer really. Sometimes I use a little spray bottle, give it all a good spray. And you might need to do that 2 or 3 times before it really penetrates into it, but just try and avoid using a steamer where you can. And if you feel like you really want to use a steamer, what you can do is take all this top layer off. You could set your steamer up, maybe in the middle of the room, let it do all its steaming, shut the door, go and have a cup of tea, and when you come back, all that steam will have soaked into that paper and it might make it easier to come off. So there's other ways to do it apart from putting the steamer on the wall, which can 9 times out of 10 in my experience do more damage than good. So let's start stripping this paper off and we'll see what we're left with. Now you just want to take your scraper, if you can't get underneath it with your nails or you don't want to break your nails, just gently get under it like that. Don't start doing a load of this. This is where you start digging the wall. So just gently get under it and then you can just peel it back from that. Nice and easy. And you can see by doing that, I'm doing absolutely no damage to the plaster underneath. Now, unless you've got old wood chip paper, it's going to be a bit of a different story. You can soak it, you can steam it. It all depends with wood chip, because generally wood chip will obviously be a painted finish, so it all depends how many layers of paint's on it, what type of paint was on it, will the water penetrate it. So it's a bit of a different story for wood chip. So generally this is really for people that have got finished wallpaper like this, not painted wallpaper. With a painted surface, it can be so many different outcomes really. It literally all depends on how long the paint's been on, how many layers of paint's been on. Is it a silk finish? Some people used to paint their paper in a gloss paint. Then this method probably won't work. You're probably going to need to do something a bit more. Probably the steamer will probably be a bit more of your friend in that situation, because it will soften the paint up. But for this sort of paper, this is the way we're going to do it. So like any good decorating job really, it's all about the preparation. And that starts from the minute you walk in the room. And this is exactly what we're doing now. We're preparing nice and easy so that we don't have to do a load of filling or a load of rubbing down in the long run. Because we're just going to take our time and get this off as easy as we can, as calmly as we can, without any damage to the underneath surface. Now that's taken me about an hour, just over an hour, just to strip all that off. So we're all back to this lining paper now. So what I'm going to do now, instead of wasting too much of my time wetting this down, I'm going to set the steamer up, I'm going to plug it in, and I'm just going to let it fill this room up with steam. And while it's doing that, I can go and have a nice cup of tea, and then we'll come back and see what it's done. Now you can also give it a bit of a roll with a wet roller, or you can spray a little bottle on it just to help it along. But I'm just going to plug this in and let it do its thing. It's all plugged in now, so just leave that paddle sort of in the middle of the room, not directly under the light bulb. It shouldn't really hurt it, but you don't want it in the corner because the steam's just going to be coming up in one particular area. You really want that steam to just go everywhere and do its thing. So another tip, if you've got laminate floor or wooden floor, don't in any circumstances leave that steamer on the floor. put it on something. Maybe you've got like a hop up you can put it on, or you've got a little step ladder. But don't leave it on the floor, because the bottom of that will obviously get very hot and it can start swelling up that laminate floor and you'll have all sorts of bother going on there. Now while that steam is heating up, I'm just going to help it out with a bit of spray. So we've got a nice spray bottle. We just go along and just give it that first soak. You can use a roller for this, you can use some warm water in a roller tray. And obviously if you're going around sockets and things, probably best to just use a little brush. Just dip a little brush in some water and just gently go around the sockets. You don't really want to be spraying this above sockets, because water can run down, get behind and then just trip your electrics out. So just take extra care around the sockets obviously. Now already these are starting to really bubble, so we're just going to give these a go, and there we go. Look. That's not a lot of water bit on there yet. Now, I've got a confession really. I started off making this video, I was trying to do something a little bit different really, maybe get a few more subscribers. So I was aiming this for purely the beginner DIY market. And the subject of the video was, at any level, you can decorate your own room. You haven't got to get people in to do it. After I started stripping the wallpaper off, it became apparent that this is too much just for a beginner. So let me show you why. So I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to come in and pretend I was doing something and not follow on with what I originally wanted to do. This was going to be a complete beginner's guide to how you can decorate your room without getting another tradesman in. So it's just a wallpapered room, as you'll see, but now let me show you what's come now I've taken the wallpaper off, which makes it not a beginner's guide. So the wallpaper's all stripped now. Everything looks great from back there. Just looks like a rub down on the paint to a beginner's guide. But let's get in closer. The walls have been painted before in probably what looks like a silk. Could be a matte, but it looks like a silk, maybe a bit of vinyl, I don't know. So now across the whole of these walls, we've got this, right? Now that to me takes it from being a beginner's guide to just stripping the walls, quick rub down and a paint, to something completely different. So we've got that. We have got, what else have we got? We've got cracks in all the usual places, which is pretty standard. And then we've got cracks down here, which has obviously been filled before, because you can see the filler. So that's all got to come out. And that's quite a big old crack that is, so that needs a good sort of bit of raking out really. And then I'm probably going to have to scrim all this and face fill it. We've got all this under the windowsill, this is all gone. All this needs completely raking out. We've got a little bit of blown plaster here, which I know is only filler, but a lot of hairline cracks. But more than anything, now we've got another crack there. I would imagine these are just old clinker block walls, old breeze block walls, and that's just a classic point where they split. So yeah, so it's not just a case of, oh, we've stripped the wallpaper off this weekend, Derek, and we'll give it a good rub down and a paint, and that'll be lovely for the grandkids when they turn up next week. That ain't gonna happen in this room. And if the truth be known, if I wasn't time pressured by carpet layers coming in next week, I would skim this room. Rather than muck about, sanding all this down, filling it, I would skim it. But I haven't got time because I've got other work. So it's Wednesday today. I've got today, Thursday, Friday, potentially Saturday if I need it. Then I'm busy. I've got no more time to come back here. And if I skim this, it's going to need 2 or 3 days to dry, so that ain't going to happen. But in a perfect world, I'd put the filler back in the van and I'd get the multi-finish out. So you can see we've got lots and lots of crap really, which is all doable with filler. I'll get a big sander on it tomorrow because I've just finished stripping it. Obviously there's still a bit of dampness in the walls. I'm just going to let it all dry. And then tomorrow I'll come back in. I might put some filler on today, but I'll come back in tomorrow and I'll get a big sander on it all. So that's where we are with this little room. Let's clear up this room. Start raking some old filler out. Start getting some new filler in with some scrim over the top. Right, we've got the Festool all plugged into this little cordless sander. We'll give it a blast over. I wish I had more time, I really do. I'd skim it all. I don't really like doing this, but we'll give it a sand over and see what we got. And then we'll probably give it all the seal with something really. So I've been over that one with a sander. It was okay, but to be honest, at the minute, I'm better off just going over everything lightly with this little scraper really. Just keeping it flat, just keeping the profile down like that. And that seems to be taking off a lot more of this loose than the sander is just skimming over the top of a lot of it. So I'll just run across like this, get the worst of the loose off. There are some bits that are actually still a bit tacky where the paste is not fully dried yet, so where I've been over with a sander, it's not too bad, you know. Probably need a little bit of filling, but it's not too bad. It's pretty okay. Funny enough, I did do another room in here similar to this, and that was, let's take you down there. I did this bedroom, what, last year or the year before. Again, it's the same colour as what we're doing, but that was all the same. We just stripped it, sanded it and filled it, and I mean, you can see it ain't come out too bad. It's all right. It's all I want. I just want to freshen up. So yeah, so hopefully it should just come out like that again. I think I painted this hall. You know, I can't remember. I cannot remember. But yeah, we'll just keep on scraping these bits off like that. So I won't film any more of that because I'll send you to sleep. So I'll come back when I've got something else to show you. So this is this interface pad that I've bought for this sander. So that goes on top of the normal sander. And it gives you that nice spongy, cushiony look. And it means you can sort of press it around door frames and around sort of shapes and things like that. Yeah, all worked really well actually, as you'll see here. Time to mix some filler now. Filler of choice today is the Two Prey. Quite like this stuff. Rubs down nice. I used to buy big bags of Easy Fill, but I found with that was that because I don't do decorating all the time, sometimes they would sort of sit in the van and they might start clumping a bit if they was been in there for a long while. So I just buy this size now, 2 kilograms, and that will last me a while now. So Let's mix a bit of that up and then we'll get on with scrimming and filling these bigger cracks. And then it might be time to go home because it's gone 3 o'clock now. So I just want to get the filler on the walls and then that can be drying overnight rather than me putting it on tomorrow and watching it. So let's mix a bit of that up. Now what I'm going to do in these cracks is just spray a little bit of water in them really, just to kill any dust. Just going to get it in there. I don't really want it there because I don't want my filler to start diluting, so just put the nozzle right to the wall, give it a little squirt in there. And that should kill the dust then really. So what I'll do, I'll put a first pass of filler into it just to fill it up. Then I'll do a second pass with the scrim embedded in it. So if I put the scrim on there and then put the filler in, there's a chance it's not going to go right through that and it's going to there's going to be a hollow still behind it. So we'll double check by filling it up first. Now once that's full up, we can just go over the surface a bit, just to give the scrim something to stick to. And we can put a bit of that on there. And I'm going to be using one of these. They're okay, you can pick them up off Amazon, cheap. I could use a trowel, but I'm going to use this instead. So let's get that over them. I don't think you can see down here. Bit round there. I think I'll have a tiny bit there as well. I'm going to put a bit on that spot as well. The notorious spots. Right. Now we've got that. Now we can load this up a bit. And we can give it a first one. Now we may well need to do this twice because this first one will just set. We'll have a bit of a rub down and then we'll do a second pass going a little bit wider. But we'll just do this for today. Watch out your scrim doesn't fold over on itself either. Otherwise it will dry all sticking out at you. Right. Also going to do this right underneath this windowsill. I'm not just going to fill it and leave it because it will probably crack again, so we'll just go along and do this. You can always face fill it again tomorrow, but if you're going to all this trouble, I always feel like you're better off doing that. I mean, if you was plastering, you wouldn't not scrim that. So what's the difference with filler? Just treat it exactly the same as plaster. That's what I tend to do anyway. You just want to make sure that that's not coming back. So I'll get on with that and I'll come back to you. So that's that crack filled and scrimmed. And I've done that all the way under the windowsill there, all the way to the end, just to give it its best chance really. And I'm probably going to do it down this wall as well because there's a great big crack down that wall. that's it for today. That's me done. I've put my filler on in all the worst places. Got all that filled down there, filled and scrimmed down them nasty cracks. Same with that one there. All under there. That bad one there. And up there. And also, there's quite a nasty one up there. So they're the main cracks done. So I'll come in tomorrow, give them a rub down, and then give all the walls another quick blast over. And then I'm going to get a coat of something on them. So we'll see what these walls come out like with a rub down and then a coat. And then obviously you're going to need a pass of filler over the top. And then that filler will obviously be rubbed down in the afternoon or on Friday. So let's see how we go with this, eh?